Okie doke, today, day 7, waiting at the bus stop for the next bus. Very cold out today. Got a bit of a lighter book bag, so my back won't be breaking. I kind of had a toss up between, okay, I can take more books, so I can do more books, or I can think for the long term, sustaining myself for keeping good health and doing more books, I could make sure my back doesn't get thrown out. So I took a few less books. Hare Krishna. On we go. Okie doke, rise and shine, here we go. Number one strategy guide when you get out in the morning, when I get out in the morning. If I don't want to talk to somebody, I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, here we go, another day. How do we start? It's like my dad used to say, if you've got a million things to do and you don't know where to start, choose the first thing next to you and just do it. So you got like a big old pile of laundry, used to say. Just fold the first piece of clothing and go from there. So, go up to the first person you see and talk to him. Okay, game on, here we go. So, news from Battlefield, as it were, past couple hours. So I was out back by Westlake, it's an area around here, and I saw this gentleman, and I was texting my wife, like, just like, what's going on, and all of a sudden I look up and I see this guy walking by. I'm like, I think he should get a book. I'm like, I'll give him a second. I'm like, hang on a second. This service is about quality, not quantity. It's not like, okay, there's someone who gets a book, but we'll pass them up because there's tons of people. That next person. It's like, no, that person I think needs a book or would take a book. I'm going to go for that person. So I put my phone in my bag. I sling everything back on. I go up to him. I show him the books, and he's about my age, like, top knot going on, olive-looking skin. And I showed him the books and said, hey, it's for books on ancient philosophy. Before I can go any further, he goes, white people have spoiled ancient philosophy. And I didn't quite understand, so I said, what? He said, white people have spoiled ancient philosophy. And I thought about it, and I said, okay, be as it may, but we're trying to get past the bodily platform here. And he just gives me a shoe with his fingers, kind of like the name shoo, shoo, shoo. And it's like, okay, Hare Krishna. And I walked down the street, and I walked back, and then when I saw him the second time, I smiled, and he just kind of looked at me, looked away. And then I got back on my phone, I finished texting my wife, little update. And then I look up, and it's someone with a totally different voice says, excuse me. I looked up, and it's him, but totally different voice. And his eyes look, it's just a night and day difference. Before his eyes look kind of foggy, so to speak, and now his eyes are just completely clear. And he said, I'm coming back to apologize. And I just said, whoa, I don't get that very much. And he said, yeah, I was hazed over by my own anger and previous prejudices. And he said, I've had the universe poking me in the head for the past few minutes. I need to come find you and apologize. And I said, that's very sweet of you. And he said, yeah. He said, I like what you're doing. He said, my own prejudices won't let me take it though. And I said, well, how about this? I handed him the Raja Vidya. I said, would your emotions and where you're at allow you to accept this book as a gift if I were to give it to you? And he just gave me a really empathetic look and like understanding. He said, no, I'm not able to take it. He said, but that's my fault. He said, it's on me. But what you're doing is important. I want you to go. I just want to apologize. And it was so sweet. I said, thank you very much. Really sweet person. And so that's why you got to have more people doing books. Because I think the next time, if someone's nice to them, the books can go out. The main thing about this service is even when people treat us very, very poorly, we have to remember how was Srila Prabhupada treated. And we can only even aspire for 1/10,000th of the tolerance Prabhupada had. And oftentimes we fail, but if we can have some of that sweetness, it will inspire people to take these books. And then we have a blast. Okay, back to service now. I just ran into this gentleman named Eric. It's his first day out of prison. And he's super positive man. I wouldn't even known if he hadn't guessed it, if he hadn't just offered the information himself. And he was super psyched to take a Raja Vidya. And he was at the bus stop. If I'd gotten there 10 minutes later, maybe even 5 minutes later, he wouldn't have been there. So, book distributors, people thinking about doing book distribution. It's fun, there's people waiting for these books. Go out there, have an adventure, Jai. First Bhagavad Gita of the day goes out. Man, I was waiting for that to happen. Everyone's taking Raja Vidyas, and it's nice. And they're all giving, very generous donations. We're just taking Raja Vidyas. And this gentleman is really interested. His name's David. And I tell him, cualquier cosa que puedes, no importa. Porque I can tell he's having a difficult time. And he just said, okay, and he really wanted the Bhagavad Gita. So he gave me I didn't even look at it when he gave it to me. I wanted to respect him because it does in difficult times, so it didn't matter. And he gave me a few dollars. But it was just so blissful finally getting a Bhagavad Gita out there. And on we go. Hare Krishna. That was the most blissful book I have distributed today. I almost said to date. I'm sure I've had a couple close things like that. But book distribution is such an adventure. In his words, he goes, I'm a broke-ass homeless guy. We had like a 15, 20-minute conversation. Background, I was never the biggest book distributor. And a lot of times I often spend a bit more time with people than maybe is the best idea. But anyways, with him, I gave him a 20-minute conversation. He gave me, we had a nice 20-minute interaction. He read the Bhagavad Gita years ago, and just talking about his whole life and how he ended up homeless. And I said, would you consider taking it? Like at the end of it, I was like, this guy, he'll value the Bhagavad Gita. He's gripping it. I told him, would you do one thing for me, man? I said, would you keep that book and whatever you can, if it's pennies, whatever, pitch in what you can, and you're willing to just go back towards the printing project. And he looked at it and he said, you know what, dude? I'm a broke-ass homeless guy, but this is totally worth it, you bet. And he put it in his bag and he said, I'll give you all the change I got. And he gave me a bunch of change. And he said, not much. I didn't even look at it. I don't even know what he gave me. I just put it in my bag. I said, totally fine. And I said, oh, and you know what? He pulled out his wallet and there's a $5 Canadian thing in it. And he says, I don't know what the exchange rate is, but someone gave it to me as a sick joke. And, if it's worth anything to you, I'll just give it to you. Thanks for the book. And I said, yeah, you bet. And then I gave him a hug and took our picture. And then I said, Hare Krishna. And he said, Hare Krishna to you too, man. He goes, I freaking love that religion. Because it's all just about love, God's love. And this is why we come out here. It's not so, this is our service. This is our simple living, high thinking. We live simply doing service. We think, how can we distribute these books to people who will value them? And so often, I've been finding lately that people who are seemingly not doing very well materially are valuing these books so much better than anybody else. It's blissful service. Hare Krishna. And for our nightly ritual, $3.72, or if you don't have the pennies, $3.75 into the coin jar. Starting to get some nice sway. Slow and steady wins the race. It's like 16 rounds every day. End of our life, we can go, oh, we've done so many rounds. Same thing with book distribution. It's really disheartening sometimes. Only doing 3 or 4 books a day, if that's all you're doing part-time. But hey, 3 or 4 times if you take weekends off, and you're like doing part-time book distribution only 5 days a week, let's say you multiply 3 by 24 for all the weekdays, whatever it is. That's like 72 books you're doing. Slow and steady wins the race, a little bit at a time. End of the month, this is going to be a case of books. Hare Krishna.